Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Moose, and today I'm going to be taking you through my top 10 regional deck list using branded Despia from today's regional event. Honestly, I missed out on Top Cut in the bubble, went X2, and missed out on Top Cut by 2 places, which was, rough, but a really good experience. I really enjoyed playing the deck, it was a lot of fun, and let me show you exactly what I brought to the table today. So, starting off with the main deck, of course, starting off with Triple Aluba. It's a really good starting card, and honestly this card really performed amazingly for me today, even when I misplayed and forgot that I should summon Aluba before using the branded fusion that was in my hand, but it is what it is. This card is absolutely incredible and lovely. For the rest of the Despia package, we had 2 Despian Tragedy, 1 Despian Comedy, and 1 Ad Libitum of Despia. Really good. Ad Libitum of Despia really came in clutch, and Despian Tragedy for the Guardian Chimera match, where you're able to end up popping 1, draw 2, special summon back a monster as well, and add off Tragedy. So I actually went +2 on that branded in red, which was really nice. Honestly, I was torn between Comedy and Dramaturge, but being able to protect my Aluba from things like Effect Veiler and Imperm with Comedy in hand was really clutch, so I won't complain about that. I will take that 100%. Then getting into the rest of the deck, Albaz package, 2 Fallen of Albaz, really great card, 1 Albion the Shrouded Dragon, 1 Springans Kit, really came up really nicely as well. If you can't get Alubas and you can get the structure deck, this is a really nice replacement for Aluba. It does cause you to shuffle back cards, but it means you can shuffle back cards that you don't need in your main deck or in your hand to the main deck, or if you draw garnets, you can always shuffle them back. So it's searchable by things like Branded Lost, and searchable off, any other cards that mention a monster that mentions Fallen of Albaz in its name, which is really nice. And 1 Tri-Brigade Mercurio, which honestly didn't come up for me at all today. I was playing it as an extra hand trap. I don't think I saw it, or I cited it out every single game that I saw it, because to be honest, it really didn't do that much for me. I may just end up playing another Springans Kit or something like that, or another extender, or another actual hand trap, because while its banish effect is really good, you can actually search out Springans Kit with it, and it does protect your fusion monsters that, say Fallen of Albaz in the name. Playing it at 1, it didn't really come up that much, but if you are looking for more budget builds that don't include the full Despia engine, I would recommend maxing out on Mercurio and Springan, because they are really good going into that budget matchup. If you do want me to do a budget deck profile on, budget branded, $30 branded, I can do that for you if you'd like. Just let me know down in the comments, or if you'd like, just check out my sealed only series coming out in the next few days, using only 3 Albaz structure decks for the first episode. See how that goes, and we're gonna build from there. Then going into the spell, Branded Fusion, kind of, self-explanatory. It's an amazing card. 3 Branded Opening, also self-explanatory, really amazing card. Really nice for playing the Adventurer engine with Despia, because you can get your entire Adventurer engine online, use Branded Opening, special summon out your Aluba, and then you can still get the effect, because the Adventurer engine locks you out from normal summon monsters, activating the effects on field. 2 Branded in red. This card came in clutch today, honestly, at so many different times. And yeah, I should have played it better, honestly. I played it, I think, reasonably well, but it could have been used better at some times. 1 Branded Lost. If this was, a field spell, more searchable, that kind of things, I might play it at 2. It's a slightly worse Meltdown, but it is a really nice effect to have. I considered bumping it up to 2, I'm still not sure, but maybe in an updated deck list I will. And 2 Super Poly rounding it out, because honestly, it's just really good. Especially in the Eldritch matchup, where today my opponent only had a Sanguine left on field, went into battle phase with Fallen of Albaz and Aluba on field. He ended up having to Sanguine to save his life points, at which point I flipped Super Poly, turning his Lord and my Fallen of Albaz into Albion, and then into Murder Jade. So, does pretty well. Plus pretty hard off of that. It is nice at dealing with cards like Eldritch or things like that, especially when your opponent can summon off big monsters. Then getting into the Adventurer package, I cut down slightly. So 2 Water Enchantress, 2 Right, if I can find the second Right, it's somewhere. It's behind my Water Enchantress. 2 Right, 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, 1 Fateful Adventure, and 1 Dracoback. Really good cards, no issues with that. Adventure Engine really actually performed amazingly well today, even though I didn't actually use it all that much, mainly relying on the branded Despiers. For the hand trap lineup, 2 Ash, 2 Ghost Bell, and 2 Ghost Ogre. That was all I ran in this thing. Ghost Ogre, you may think is not amazing against a lot of decks. One of the important things about Ghost Ogre and why you don't want to cut it when you're siding is Ghost Ogre is often your only light target. Especially in this deck that I'm playing right now, Ghost Ogre is my only light target in the deck for getting out Albion. You usually want to get out Lubellion, but if you do need to get out Albion, you know, Ghost Ogre is a really good card to do it, and you can always shuffle it back by summoning out Lubellion afterwards. But that's it for the hand traps. Then getting into the other spells, 3 Crossout, not only for hand traps but for the mirror matches, and for things like people playing Branded Engine or anything like that. You can cross out using your own branded spells, branded monsters, or hand traps to actually stop your opponent off. Because hand traps are a thing and interruptions are a thing, 3 Triple Tactics Talent, because honestly this card is crazy. I used it mainly to draw today. Sometimes I used it to steal a monster. I didn't ever use it to rip cards out of my opponent's hand, because to be honest, by the time I was using this card, my opponents didn't really have much of a hand left, and I got greater value replenishing my own than by doing anything else. Then, to end it off, 2 Forbidden Droplets, 1 Called by the Grave, and 1 Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial in a deck like this is just really crazy, especially when you can use it to send something like, you know, Despian Tragedy and just get cards to your hand that you actually need, and also material engraved for Branded in Red. So Foolish Burial cannot overstate, really good card. This deck performed really well for me. The one game I lost was to Dragon Link, and the other one was to Bird Up. Honestly, Bird Up I could have played a little bit better. Dragon Link, my opponent was crazy good, so, you know, nothing I could have really done there. I don't think I could have played that one better, I just, you know, lost. And Bird Up, game 1 I lost fully, game 2 I misplayed myself into the ground, but that is how it goes, you know. We went X2 and it was actually really fun. Going into the extra deck, 3 Albion the Branded Dragon. You're going to want to summon this, but also it's your best send target off of Mirror Jade in order to get your branded spells and traps out. 2 Mirror Jade, because this card is absolutely cracked. Honestly, this card is amazing. Using it to actually just get value off of and to banish, really nice. And being able to send the Albion to banish and then remembering to recur your actual spells in the end phase, because it is an optional effect of Albion. Don't forget to actually use your Mirror Jades, just saying it would have helped at some point. 2 Lubellion, because usually you're going to be summoning this card out instead of Mirror Jade or Albion with the Branded Fusion, because you want to send off your dark targets, your Despia targets, specifically Despian Tragedy, and then it also does give you a light target on field if you wanted to go into Albion after that. So you can Lubellion and then use Lubellion as material for Albion, but you can also use Lubellion as material then for your Mirror Jade, which you might want to do. By the way, if you are playing... Actually, I'll get to this in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Then in terms of other one-ups for the branded, Brigand the Glory Dragon and Titanic Lad the Ash Dragon. Brigand searches you Fallen of Albaz or Tri-Brigade Mercuria if you need it. It didn't come up today, but it might. And Titanic Lad searches you Fallen of Albaz or lets you special summon it in the end phase. Not playing Dogmatica in this, but being able to special summon Fallen of Albaz in the end phase and then use your opponent's monsters to super poly off after they've done everything that they can in that turn, use all their effects, really does get you into really cool things, especially because you can then start popping your own fusion monsters off and popping off your own combo in their end phase, and then going into your turn with a better board. Ending off the extra deck, we have 2 Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. Really good for combo decks and the like, because if you're playing games that are really grindy, Masquerade will do you a favor by putting a clock on your opponent, and also it will help you against combo decks that usually need multiple plays to set up, because your opponents can't really go for that much, they have to settle for less combo. One Despian Coteris didn't actually see this come up at all today because there wasn't really a need for it, but when you do need it against particularly synchro boards, which I didn't play against much today, it is really crazy, so you better have it. And then last fusion monster is 1 Guardian Chimera. I don't have 2, but when I did play this off Branded in Red, it was crazy. I actually +2 off this card with Branded in Red because I used Despian Tragedy and Ad Libitum as well as a Lubellion, summoned Chimera, used Libitum to summon back Lubellion, used Tragedy to add a card from deck to hand, and Guardian Chimera to pop 1 and draw 2. So ended up getting a +2 using 4 cards and getting 6 on field, or 6 cards, you know, in terms of what the impact was, so that was really good. And then 1 Link Spider for linking off your token that you make for the Adventurer engine if you want to go into a link play. Really helpful, really helps get you into your last monster, which is Verte Anaconda. Whatever you think of this card is crazy in this matchup. If you manage to go Adventurer Engine and your opponent then ashes your Branded Fusion or anything like that, well, not branded. So if you manage to go Adventurer combo and your opponent ashes your Lubo or something like that, then you can go into Verte and then send the Branded Fusion and then set a Branded in red for the next turn, which is really, really nice. And also, if you do want to, if you have made Verte, and on the next turn you make a Lubalian, you can actually use the Verte as material to shuffle back for a Mirror Jade, which means you then get to summon out Verte again when you need it, which is really, really nice. That's it for the extra deck. We now are at the side deck. Now I was playing 2 Lava Golem. Honestly, this was just for getting rid of opponents' boards, and I don't think I ever sided this in. Might side it out for some Kaijus that are light or dark that I can use to make, you know, better targets. But if it had come up, I don't think it would have been a problem, but it never reached a situation where I really needed to out a board like that. 1 Artifact Scythe. I'm not playing DPE in this deck, but Scythe is in here just to make sure that I have a cross-out target so I don't get Scythe locked. We are running 3 cross-out and 1 Call by the Grave. If your opponent is using something like Scythe, you side in Scythe for a cross-out target, which is really nice. It's also a light target so that you can make Albion and then shuffle it back with Lubellion so that you can still use it as a cross-out target. 2 Droll and Lockbird, 1 DD Crow, 1 Zombie World, and 1 Necro World Banshee. That was all for the Flunderies matchup and things like that. Also works surprisingly well against Knybird, which, well, bird up, you know. I didn't actually think of at the time, but when I played a bird up player, it really did help. So I would recommend it. Then back row, 3 back row hate cards, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Could have played the 3rd Cosmic Cyclone. I wanted the Harpies just for my own turn to get more impact and maybe to force out a negate. But coming to think of how much Eldritch was in this matchup today, I think I was a little bit lucky that I didn't see more and that my back row hate was actually enough. Ending it off, 2 Infinite Impermanence, great card, more negation, another hand trap basically, and also a fantastic crossout target if your opponent is running Imperm. Because if they try and Imperm your Luba and you cross out Imperm, it's really, really helpful. Ending it off with the final 2 cards being 2 copies of Dimensional Barrier. Now, this card is not only good in the mirror match where you can actually use it, it's also good if your opponent is playing it, which a lot of players actually are, especially since it just got reprinted as a common. So using that in order to actually get your plays online is really, really helpful. And being able to do things barrier is really, really nice. So when you're able to use it on your opponent, it's great. When you're able to stop yourself from getting debarriered, even better. That's it for my deck profile. It came out really nice. We went X2, which I'm really happy about, especially since I've prepped this deck for 2 days and changed my entire build basically like the night before regionals. So I'm very happy about it. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment telling me what do you think I should change, what do you think of the deck profile, and what would you do to improve it, and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Thanks everyone, see you next time.